Welcome to Real Estate Radio Live, an informative and engaging hour discussing everything you need to know about the world of real estate. Your host, Mike D'Ambrosio, provides you with insight and guidance on how to buy, sell, finance, and invest in real estate, and much, much more. And now, to guide you around the world of real estate, here's your host, Mike D'Ambrosio.
Well, welcome in. Good afternoon. This is Mike D'Ambrosio with Real Estate Radio Live. Thanks for joining us this afternoon. Talking anything and everything real estate as we always do on Real Estate Radio Live on this beautiful Monday afternoon. And today we're going to be talking about divorce. And it's always a fun topic, but in the world of real estate, real estate comes up a lot when it comes to divorce. So we're going to get into all of that. I got my trusty sidekick on the phone today. Laura Pesavento with the D'Ambrosio Real Estate team is on the line.
Hey.
Laura, how you doing? How's it going?
I'm doing great, thank you. And I'm not getting a divorce.
All right, thanks for letting us know.
You betcha.
So yeah, Laura's. We usually have fun when she's in studio, but she couldn't make it up here today, so I'm just calling in. So it's all good. Before we get to the topic for today, just a reminder for those of you guys just tuning in, there's always a couple different ways you can listen to our show. That is on the radio at KDOW 1220 AM, or you can go online to reradiolive.com, or you can download our apps. You can download the KDOW app, the iHeartRadio app, or the Real Estate Radio Live app. And if you want to download our podcast, we podcast every show now, so you can listen to it on the go, and you can go to iTunes and download the Real Estate Radio Live app. And usually, it's amazing, our podcasts go up within a matter of hours after our show. So if you absolutely can't wait to listen to the show again or share it with your friends, then you can go in and download that bad boy pretty quickly after we're done.
Yeah,
but if you're old school,
unfortunately, anyone's got this topic in mind of friends, please make sure to share it with them. It could be a useful tool.
Exactly. But if you are old school and you want to listen live, you can listen to us 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. That's from 3 to 4 p.m. And as you know, we are a live show other than podcasting, but we're a live show, so we're live right now. You can give us a buzz, 1-800-516-1220, 1-800-516-1220, or if you're bashful, you can text in to 408-630-0101. That's 408-630-0101 if you have any questions. And, a lot of these topics we talk about are either from people calling in, texting in, or even emailing us throughout the week. So keep them coming. We always love getting to your topics and all that good stuff. So anyways, what do we have coming up event-wise, Laura, before we get into talking about this lovely topic we decided to go with today? What do we got coming up?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked for this segue, Mike. We are doing our annual golf tournament a week from today at Cinnabar Hills, September 19th, Monday. Come for great food, great fun,
all right, and that's going to benefit a couple of really great, deserving organizations. And if you want any more information on that, you can go to our website. My alma mater, Archbishop Mitty High School. We're also going to be benefiting the Intero Foundation and also Via Services too. So you can find out more information. You can go to the website, MikeDsells.com. That's MikeDsells.com, and then under events, you can go to the golf tournament tab. So it's going to be a great day. The weather should be great. Hopefully your golf game is good, and come hungry and thirsty, I guess you'd call it, right?
Golf game's not good. It's okay. We're still all going to have a great time. That's
right. All right. So, Laura, we've been running into this whole. Obviously, it's an unfortunate topic, in any family, but it happens, and we work with people going through divorces more often than you think, and again, I want to preface the whole show today with the fact that it's an unfortunate fact of life, but people go through it, and typically there's an asset there that they have to sell, and that's their house or other investment properties, and so what we're going to talk about today is, what is the process for that if you are going through a divorce, and what does that look like? on the real estate side of things. So we're a real estate related show. So that's what we're not going to give divorce advice today. So but you're going to have to talk to an attorney about that. What's that?
That didn't sound good. Divorce advice.
Well, we're not giving advice on your actual
advice.
We're giving real estate advice as it pertains to divorce. How about that?
Exactly.
All right. So So the first step in any we talk about this a lot on the show, is the first step. You should, if you don't have a good real estate agent, real estate broker that that you reach out to for referrals and for different contractors or when you need attorneys or that type of thing, you should have a good real estate person to reach out to in order to do that. My guess is that most of your real estate professionals, if you do have one in your address book, it should be they should have good referrals for legal representation, for an attorney, or vice versa. You could reach out to your attorney, and they usually have a good real estate agent as well. I think really the first step in the process is doing that, because you got to get your ducks in order on that. Do you have any comment on that, Laura?
Yeah, I think that people really, for the most part, Mike, don't think about you or the real estate agent being the hub of starting the process, and I think it's really important for them to understand why. And actually, you have firsthand experience dealing with clients that have unfortunately have had this happen to them, and I think it's a very important topic today, especially because if you have kind of like, I hate to say it, one-stop shop with a real estate agent that has all this utilized with them, with all their vendors in hand, it makes it so much more seamless. And
yeah, because you're dealing with a whole bunch of stuff.
You have the checklist and the process of what you need to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Because when you have that one-stop shop, or you have someone with the connections, it's one less thing you have to worry about as you go through this treacherous process of divorce and all the emotion that's attached to it. Just one less thing that you have to deal with if you go to someone that has a list of people that they work with on a daily, weekly basis that they know are going to be able to help you out well. So I think that's really the first step. Getting that. Another thing that you're going to want to do is if you don't already have it, I'm sure a lot of you do, because a lot of people that listen to KDOW are, business people and smart. And so if you have a spreadsheet with your finances, your assets, your bills, all of that stuff, you need to start listing all of that out. Your attorney's probably going to ask you for that as well. But you want to really get all your ducks in a row when it comes to your assets. That way you kind of know where you have to go with everything and what you're going to have to do, what you're going to have to sell, what you're going to have to split up, all of that. Getting that all organized is going to only help you in the process and help you make better decisions from a 50,000 foot level.
Absolutely.
So that would really be the next part. Now, the overall part of this whole process when it comes to going through a divorce, selling real estate, is if neither spouse wants to stay in the family home, or if neither can afford to buy the other out, you have choices. You either put the property market and get the best possible price for it, or you have someone that can buy the other person out. I think that's really the two main decisions that you have to make is, look, are we going to sell this and split the proceeds, or am I going to stay here and you're going to have to buy me out? So that's really got to be the first thing that you figure out. But you also have to keep in mind that before the sales proceeds can be divided, you have to pay off the mortgage. You have to pay off any equity line or second mortgage. You have to pay commissions and closing costs. And also you're going to have to pay any capital gains taxes that might apply, and you're going to have to talk to a tax advisor for that. But all of those expenses is something that you have to keep in mind when it comes to making that decision on whether you're going to sell or just buy the other person out.
Well, Mike, too, I wanted to interject here because it's so great, watching you in action with a client. I actually got the opportunity to do so lately, not on any, not because it was a great situation, but you really put your clients at ease because you have those answers. You come prepared. The agent will come, to the table and let you know what the comps are, let you know what the homes around you are selling like. So it kind of helps you go in with more of an idea of what you're looking at, numbers-wise, I mean, I know
right.
You don't say, hey, I'm not a tax, I'm going to help you with your taxes and I'm going to help you in the long run with the money and the numbers. You can't do that. That's what the lawyers are for. But you definitely can help them go into it with a different perspective, a more solid, educated perspective of what they can do with if they wanted to sell their house.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the biggest things is getting those numbers. So for the example what we're talking about, I'm not obviously giving any names out, but is basically, you have to go over there, check out the house, go over there with the comps, and really figure out, if that person's staying in the home, what's the monthly cost look like? What does their income look like? What does the situation with the kids look like? I mean, you have to take all of this into account and really kind of comp out the house, look at what the values are. Okay, then you go, can they afford to stay there? Is it comfortable to stay there?
Yeah, or close,
and then you have to look
by.
At,
if they need to
by,
sell
right.
and they need to stay close by to be with the other, the spouse, their father or mother, where's an opportunity? Will they be able to buy close by if they do sell the house? Which
and
I
that's
thought
a whole
was
nother.
A really great value add that you add to them because it automatically gave your client peace of mind.
Yeah. Well, and that's a whole other part of the conversation, too, is if they are going to be selling and trying to move somewhere, and what does that look like? And then introducing them to a mortgage person to talk, introducing them to Joe and to see, what their income situation looks like. Are they going to be getting alimony? What is that? What do all the finances look like, and whether they can afford to move to an area, maybe it's close by, and transition in a way that's going to be, not too uprooting to them and their family. So we have to look at all of those numbers. What can they get for the house? What are they going to net out? Then what can they buy? And then what's their income and all that type of stuff. It's really, it's complicated, but it could be made easy, if you really look at all of the numbers and make sure you're making an informed decision.
Yeah, not only that, Mike, but another thing that you do, which I really think is valuable to the potential seller or person going through the divorce, is that you let them know what it's going to take in order to make their house get the most, get the most money out of their house. Like go through, do the walkthrough, and say, okay, well, once your process is started, it's going to take you a month to get this place ready to stage and all that other good stuff. Because unfortunately, they probably have families and they're living in that home and, there's nowhere to go. So you just got to spruce it up as much as you can and make it as presentable as possible to get the highest and best, offer for it.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right, well, we got to take a break in just a couple seconds, but we've got a lot more to get into, when it comes to divorce and selling real estate. We're talking about picking an agent, settling on an asking price, preparing to show the house, all that good stuff. I'm Mike D'Ambrosio. This is the D'Ambrosio Real Estate Team on Real Estate Radio Live. Stick around. We'll be right back.
For more information on today's program, visit RERadiolive.com. That's RERadiolive.com. Welcome back to Real Estate Radio Live, streaming live on iHeart, TuneIn, and KDOW.biz. For more information on today's topic or guest, just visit RERadiolive.com. That's RERadiolive.com. Again, your host for today's edition of Real Estate Radio Live, Mike D'Ambrosio.
Welcome back in. This is Mike D'Ambrosio on Real Estate Radio Live, KDOW 1220 AM, the Wall Street Business Network. And we are talking about the lovely topic of divorce in real estate today. Laura Pesavento with the D'Ambrosio Real Estate Team is on the line.
And we're both happily married, just for the record.
That's right. Just for the record. Thank you for reminding me of that. Love to hear from you guys if you had any questions, if you're happily married or maybe not, 1-800-516-1220. Or you can text into 408-630-0101. And this segment's brought to you by Georgia's Italian Food and Pizzeria and Frankie Johnny and Luigi's too. The best Italian food around with 4 convenient locations throughout the Bay Area to serve you. You can go to Giorgio's and FJLItalian.com for more information on their famous happy hour specials. And especially if you're going to go out and watch the Niner game tonight, it'd be a good place to go do it.
There's specials going on tonight, Mikey. It's a good night to be at Giorgio's and Frankie Johnny's tonight. They got great prices going on for Monday night happy hour.
How about that for a promo?
How about that?
And football is back. I'm sure a lot of people listening are excited about that. So,
hey, I wonder how many divorces happen during football season.
I have a feeling that it spikes. I just know that the look that I get on my wife's face about football, and there's this meme that goes around social media about when football Sundays are back and the wife and all that funny stuff. So it's
actually I welcome that. Go in your man cave, get it done. I love it.
Yeah, get out of the house, right?
Exactly.
All right. So let's go back into
my marriage. I'm good for that.
There you go. I love it.
Too much information.
Okay. That's right, yeah, TMI. All right, so let's go back into the divorce. So we talked a little bit about getting legal representation, reaching out to your agent, that real estate agent that probably has really good contacts for you to reach out to people, putting together a spreadsheet of all your assets and accounts and all that stuff, and starting the whole process of possibly selling your main asset. And what we're talking about is real estate is typically the biggest asset that a person has and a couple has. So that's why it's a huge part of the conversation, and then especially when you have kids and this is where they grew up and all of that, it's a big part of the whole divorce conversation. I wanted to take a side note really quick because there is a lot of people out there going through this that may have been a homemaker. Maybe they were the one taking care of the kids. Maybe they didn't have a regular, a job at a company, but they had the harder job of raising the kids full time and doing that. So maybe they don't have the income to show in order to get approved to buy another property. But one of the things you can do, and a lot of times this pertains more to the women than to the men, but if you are concerned about this, if you are going through a divorce and you're thinking the house has probably got to get sold, one of the things is you can qualify for a loan. You can use the alimony for income as long as it's documented in a divorce decree and it's scheduled to continue for at least 5+ years. So that's a thing to think about. I know a lot of people out there, especially if their alimony might not be able to cover the payment of the house they're currently living in, so therefore they might have to sell the house. One of the things that you can do is use the alimony you're getting for income in order to buy another property. You don't necessarily have to have a W-2 or a 1099 employee in order to apply for a loan to buy something else and live out your life.
Yeah.
Laura, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, it's just we've found that it's daunting for people that are in that position and they kind of feel like they're paralyzed, like they're embarrassed. They're embarrassed to see if it's a possibility. I mean, they really don't have a choice, actually, in some cases where they have to sell. But then they're afraid that they're not going to qualify for anything, and then they feel embarrassed. And which actually they should really feel empowered because it is an income. And you have been doing such a great job, being a stay-at-home parent that there's nothing to be ashamed of for that, and you do get to qualify just as easy, right?
Exactly. No, and I think it's a good point. Don't be ashamed. And again, this kind of goes in line with what we've been talking to a lot of, even just kind of doing a sidestep here with buyers, people out there thinking about buying real estate. Don't be bashful to go talk to a lender. We get it all the time. A lot of people are like, well, I don't know if I'd qualify for something. Well, how are you going to know if you never even try? Right? And even if you do try and you find out you can't really qualify for something you're looking for, at least you have a plan put in place. If you work with a good lender like Joe.
Don't just sit on your laurels. Here's the deal.
Right.
If you're manned with some, process, seeing somebody like Mike, to come in and talk with us about your situation, we can help you put the plan in place so that you have a game plan and you can get your credit score up. You can get the lending money, funded. Yeah. You can get that down.
Yeah, absolutely. So putting a plan in place, whether it's with divorce or just in general, always a smart thing to do. So, okay, we got to take a quick break. We got a lot more to get to on the next few segments, so stick around. If you have any questions, 1-800-516-1220. 1-800-516-1220. You can text in 408-630-0101. We've got a lot more to get to. I'm Mike D'Ambrosio. Stick around. We'll be right back on Real Estate Radio Live.
For more information on today's program, visit RERadiolive.com. That's RERadiolive.com. Welcome back to Real Estate Radio Live, streaming live on iHeart, TuneIn, and KDOW.biz. For more information on today's topic or guest, just visit RERadiolive.com. That's RERadiolive.com. Again, your host for today's edition of Real Estate Radio Live, Mike D'Ambrosio.
Welcome back. This is Mike D'Ambrosio on Real Estate Radio Live, KDOW 1220 AM. We are talking about divorce and selling real estate today. It's always a lovely topic, but it's a necessary one. And Laura with the D'Ambrosio Real Estate team is on the line, and my trusty sidekick over there. We'd love to hear from you guys if you have any questions, 1-800-516-1220, or you can text into 408-630-0101. And this segment's brought to you by Starburst Construction. They've been serving the Silicon Valley for over 40 years. They are dedicated to building award-winning homes that last a lifetime. You can visit them today at starburstconstruction.com. So let's transition a little bit, Laura, and talk about choosing an agent when it comes to a divorce situation. There's a couple of different ways you can go about doing it. I think that when anyone thinks about selling real estate, they think that they're going to just hire an agent and go from there. But when it comes to divorce, sometimes you have, obviously, if both parties aren't, they're not on good terms and can't agree with each other, this might be a good reason to hire two different brokers, and then they split the compensation.
That's interesting. I would have never thought of that. And the point for doing that is what?
Well, because sometimes one party might think that if they do hire one agent, they're playing sides with the other one. Whether it's true or not, that's a whole other conversation. But they might think that the agent, especially if that agent comes through a relationship with one of the parties and not the other one. So it might be good for each person to hire, they can hire their own agents. That way they can interface with that person and feel like they're getting properly represented.
Does that
is
cost,
a possibility.
Does that cost the seller more money?
It all depends on how they negotiate the commission and the compensation structure. Typically, it depends on what the agents decide on too. Sometimes the agent will want to make a normal commission, and it might cost the seller a little bit more. But if it's gonna save them a headache and save them and feel like they're getting properly represented, then it might be worth the additional cost.
Yeah,
now,
that's
if they can
very
find
emotional,
two agents
so maybe that extra little peace of mind is worth their extra fees, huh?
Yeah, or if they can find two brokers that'll do it for half of the price because they're going to be doing half of the work essentially. Well, it's just not really that true because there's going to be a lot of work involved. But if they can find, they can.
It would be extra sticky. It'd be extra work.
Yeah, it will be. That's what I'm trying to say. But so I don't know. It depends, and it's all negotiable, I guess, is the answer to that question. But I would say, if both people are in agreement through this divorce, in my opinion, it's best to hire one agent to list the property. It's only going to maintain the consistency in the communication, and therefore it's going to keep the complexity of the transaction down to a minimum rather than throwing in another personality, another party, and having things, get muddled a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I would agree with that one. I'm obviously not part of the scenario, but it would seem to me that if you had one agent that was clear and concise and did communication to both at all times, that would be like optimum.
Yeah, absolutely. So that is the process of choosing an agent. There's other things involved with going through a divorce. If it's a very complicated divorce, obviously the attorneys get involved in that point. And then there's also divorce specialists too, which we can talk about. So we got a lot more to get to on the other side. We're going to talk about how long this process takes and what are some more steps involved that we haven't gotten to yet. So stick around. 1-800-516-1220 is the number, or you can text into 408-630-0101. It's the Ambrosia Real Estate Team on Real Estate Radio Live. We'll be right back.
For more information on today's program, visit reradiolive.com. That's reradiolive.com. Welcome back to Real Estate Radio Live, streaming live on iHeart, TuneIn, and KDOW.biz. For more information on today's topic or guest, just visit reradiolive.com. That's reradiolive.com. Again, your host for today's edition of Real Estate Radio Live, Mike D'Ambrosio.
Welcome back. This is Mike D'Ambrosio on Real Estate Radio Live, KDOW 1220 AM. Give us a buzz if you have any questions, 1-800-516-1220. You can text in to 408-630-0101. We're talking about real estate and divorce, and always a fun topic. And before we get back into that, this segment is brought to you by Taps Termite. They've been serving the Bay Area for over 45 years. Taps Termite is committed to keeping your living area pest-free by using the newest and safest technology. You can call Taps today for a complimentary inspection. That's 408-259-5900. And, Laura, real quick, I wanted to totally go off topic here and talk about the Tesla plant. Yeah, no kidding. So I went to the Tesla factory today with a group of individuals from our Ontario corporate office. It was a team building thing. And, oh, my gosh, that place is unbelievable. They only usually do tours for private groups like ours or people who are actually buying the car. And this is unbelievable. For those of you guys that don't know, the main factory is over in Fremont, where the NUMMI plant used to be, and so now it's Tesla. And I've never seen machinery like this. I've never seen a production line like this. It just amazed me, and really kind of, it reinforced why we are in the Silicon Valley, and it kind of went back to like real estate, and there's companies like this all throughout Silicon Valley, with not maybe to the size of what Tesla is and what they're manufacturing, but we have this technology and all of this stuff here in the valley, and it was just a really sight to see. It really, it really got to me today. It was pretty cool.
Mike, you're going to be a proponent of causing more divorce here, talking about this.
Tesla? You need to buy me a Tesla or else, yeah.
But you said it's pretty reasonable, right? You said that it's not, unattainable. It's not like $80,000 anymore.
Well, some of the models are, but the newer ones that is coming out is going to be their mass production model that's going to be more affordable than some of their other models. So that's what they believe as a company is going to catapult them, into being a major player in car manufacturing. So, anyways,
yet, we should say you better get one or else you're going to get a divorce.
Yeah, exactly.
Ambrosia's waiting for hers.
That's right. She certainly is. So, on that note, let's get back into real estate. And again, I kind of just wanted to mention that because it just made me really realize what kind of amazing things are happening in this valley, and why our housing prices are so high is because of some of these companies that we have here in the job market and all that good stuff. So
yeah, it's no surprise, right? We're in the land of opportunity.
It isn't, So let's go back. I want to talk about timeline and some of the other steps that we've talked about. Obviously, as you go through this unfortunate situation, you're going to call your real estate professional, your attorney, and really get the process going. One of the questions we've got, and I think we got an email about it the other week about, what's the timeline? What is the time frame? How long is this going to take? On the divorce side of things, it really kind of depends on how complicated of a divorce you're going to get. I can't really give you a specific answer on that. When it comes to the real estate side of things, it's a little bit more cut and dry. And here's the way I see it going down. Number one, you're going to obviously want to reach out to your professional, have them come by the house and do a walkthrough and see what does the house look like, where do they think the value is going to be, what are some of the things that you need to do in order to get the house ready if you do decide to sell it. And either way, you're going to have to get a value of the house, whether you sell it or not. Just to kind of side note for you, if you do decide to sell it, obviously you need to know what the value is. If one of the parties is going to buy the other out, you need to know what the value is. So regardless of all of this, you're going to have someone come over and give you an appraisal of what the property is looking like, depending on if that's a real estate agent or if it's a professional appraiser or that type of thing. So just a little side note on that. Going back to the steps. So then, you have someone come over, you look at what you got to do, what is going to be the value, and then you kind of timeline it out from there. Depending on how much stuff you have to do to the house, if your house is in completely amazing condition and looks like it's staged, a real estate agent should be able to get your house on the market within a matter of a week or two. It shouldn't be a long process.
How often does that happen, Mike?
Depending on the area, not too often. I mean, the thing is that people live in their homes, and if you have kids and you have all that, I mean, there's usually some things that you have to do to get it ready, but it's not very often you walk into a house, unless it's new construction or something like that a place doesn't need a little bit of a facelift, like a little paint, maybe some new carpet or refinished flooring and some staging. I mean, those are the bare minimums that usually come into play when it comes to listing a property. So, it could go on the market if it's totally dialed in within a matter of weeks or two, or if you have to do some pretty major projects, you could be looking at a couple months down the road. Just kind of all depends on how, ultimately getting a property on the market ultimately depends on the motivation and how motivated the actual client is. You know what I mean, Laura?
Yep, exactly.
So in most cases, if it is just a little paint here and there, some new flooring, refinish hardwood, some carpet, staging, it's usually about a 3 to 4 week process.
And sometimes you give them some clues, some little tidbits, and a little extra time to do something a little bit extra might warrant a little bit higher listing price, right?
Absolutely. Good point. It just kind of depends on the situation. But, yeah, very good point. So then when it goes on the market, depending on what the market is at that time and what the comps are doing, if the recent sales, you can kind of average out how quickly your house is going to sell by what the other properties in the neighborhood are selling and how quickly those are selling if they're priced right. So if you are priced right, your house looks good, you can kind of project out how long it's going to take to sell. So let's say it's 2 or 3 weeks. And then you're going to have an escrow process of another additional 30 days. And then it's up to a matter of if you negotiate when you sell the house, if you're going to get some rent back and have some time to stay in the house after you close it. So it can get, I don't want to get too situational, but you're looking at, a 2 to 3 to 4 month process in order to sell the house and close it and then have to move out. Does that make sense, Laura?
Yeah, and honestly, that's not that much time. It goes by really fast, right?
Yeah, it definitely does. So, well, we got to take a quick break. We're going to wrap up the show on the other side. You've been listening to Real Estate Radio Live. Laura Pesavento, and I'm Mike D'Ambrosio with the D'Ambrosio Real Estate Team. Thanks for tuning in. Stick around. We'll wrap up the show on the other side of the break on KDOW. We'll be right back.
For more information on today's program, visit RERadiolive.com. That's RERadiolive.com. Welcome back to Real Estate Radio Live, streaming live on iHeart, TuneIn, and KDOW.biz. For more information on today's topic or guest, just visit RERadiolive.com. That's RERadiolive.com. Again, your host for today's edition of Real Estate Radio Live, Mike D'Ambrosio.
Welcome back in. This is Mike D'Ambrosio on Real Estate Radio Live, KDOW 1220 AM. And we've had a good time talking. I guess you call it a good time, Laura. I don't know.
We're talking about, right?
Yeah, talking about divorce and real estate and what that looks like. What's the process? If just to wrap up kind of the process and what we've talked about today, really quick before we kind of wrap the show up. Basically, you should have you should always, no matter where you're at in life, you should always have a good real estate professional, a good lawyer, someone with a really good network of people to reach out to if in the unfortunate event you have to go through a situation like this. And from there, they should really be able to lay out the timeline, lay out the tasks and the to-do list in order for you to go through this process, I guess as easily as possible, and make it not this daunting thing that, you have so much other stuff going on during this process with emotions and with children and all of that.
Help it be a little less painful, right?
You want the business side of it to not be as painful. So, getting in touch with those professionals, getting that process started, and then on the real estate side of things, picking a real estate agent, having them come over, having them value the house, having them talk to you about where you're going to, what you're going to do. Are you going to stay at the house? Is someone going to buy the other one out? Are you going to sell the house? And then are you guys going to go your separate ways and buy other property? And if you do that, what does that look like? What are you going to qualify for? What can you buy? What can you afford? And then, if you are going to sell, what do you have to do to get the house ready? And what does the timeline look on that? Project out a timeline on how long it's going to take for you to sell it and get into contract and then move and all of that good stuff. So you really want to make sure that you timeline all of that stuff out. And am I missing anything, Laura?
No, make sure you have some people that you trust, and like Mike said, make sure that you have a good person with a lot of good network vendors in hand. Make it less daunting and more seamless.
Absolutely, and obviously we hope that none of you ever have to go through any of this, but this is a real estate show, and honestly, divorce is is one of the main reasons why real estate agents and people sell their property. Other than, there's obviously a ton of other reasons, like, job relocation and retirement and downsizing and upsizing. But divorce is one of the top, unfortunately. So again, we hope you never have to go through this, but if you do, please reach out. We have the tools and we have the network and we have the people in order to help you. And, it might not be you that has to go through this. If you have friends or family members that are going through this, send them this podcast and reach out to us, and we'd be happy to get them started down that path. So if you have any other questions.
Education, I think, is a really good foundation piece for, the beginning of the process.
Absolutely. Hey, Laura, thanks for calling in today. It's always good to have my trusty sidekick on the show.
Thank you, Mike. It was
all right.
I think it's a worthwhile topic.
Absolutely. And if you have any other questions or even topics you want to hear from us about, you can go to my website. You can go to MikeDSells.com. That's MikeDSells.com. And on social media, Facebook.com/MikeDRealEstate. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Have a great week. I'm Mike D'Ambrosio. This is Real Estate Radio Live.
Real Estate
Take care.
Radio Live. For more information on today's program, visit RERadiolive.com. That's RERadiolive.com. Tune in, log in, download our podcast. Discover more at RERadiolive.com. RERadiolive.com.